A months-long investigation results in more than a dozen arrests, including 3 facing charges of murder in the first degree for the homicide of Christine Ferreira. We bring you details on this special edition of Barnstable Today. It's Tuesday, April 5th, 2016. I'm Sarah Colvin. Early this morning, search warrants were executed across Cape Cod, and 11 individuals are now facing federal drug trafficking and firearms charges. The collaborative effort involving federal, state, and local agencies dealt a serious blow to the Naughty Block gang, an organized group of criminals who allegedly are responsible for the bulk of heroin trafficking to Cape Cod. U.S. Attorney Carmen Ortiz spoke at a press conference held at Barnstable Police headquarters this morning.
We're here today to announce federal charges of drug trafficking as well as firearms offenses against 11 individuals from the Cape Cod area affiliated with the Naughty Block street gang. It is alleged that Denzel Chisholm of West Yarmouth led a drug trafficking organization along with his co-defendant, Christopher Wilkins from Hyannis. And they together would pool cash, would buy heroin from a common source in New Bedford, and then distribute it to their customers for further distribution on the Cape. In mid-February, Wilkins and Chris Chisholm began distributing heroin that was tinted blue, and the blue was due to a particular cut that was placed into the heroin. This blue tinted heroin, as the investigation continued, was seized from a variety of different sources throughout the Cape, indicating the widespread distribution of this type of heroin. Chisholm and Wilkins went to great lengths to stay under the radar and also to evade law enforcement. For instance, it is alleged that Chisholm used his girlfriend, Elise Mateo, to deliver heroin for him, as well as to store it in her Hyannis home. It's further alleged that both Chisholm and Wilkins also utilized a stash house operated by Beth Ann Hutchings to store and to sell heroin. Again, all in an effort to avoid detection by law enforcement.
Those arrested are facing federal charges of drug trafficking and firearms offenses following an investigation led by the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. The drug investigation led to the discovery and arrest of 3 individuals who each will face a charge of murder in the first degree in connection with the homicide of Christine Ferreira.
Christine was found shot and stabbed to death in the rest area between exits 6 and 7 on the Mid-Cape Highway, September 19, 2015. Since that time, a team of investigators, including Barnstable Police, the Massachusetts State Police, and our federal partners have worked exhaustively to bring us to today. And early this morning, State Police and Barnstable detectives arrested Denzel Chisholm, age 25, of Yarmouth, with the charge of murder in the first degree. Chanel Chisholm, age 26, of Mashpee, with the charge of murder in the first degree. And Tyrone Gomes, age 30, of Hyannis, already in custody with the charge of murder in the first.
The investigation began in September of 2015 as a collaborative effort to respond to the skyrocketing number of opiate-related overdoses in our region.
As many of you may know, the overdose death rate in both Barnstable and Bristol counties is 16 to 20 per 100,000 people, the highest in the state and exceeding the national average. As a result of these staggering numbers, in October of 2015, a federal investigation was initiated along with our state and local partners in an effort to address the rising opioid epidemic on Cape Cod. The investigation culminated in today's charges and the arrest of individuals who are alleged to be responsible for a significant amount of the drug distribution here on the Cape.
Several firearms were also recovered during the course of the investigation.
In addition to the alleged drug trafficking activity, investigators intercepted calls in March of this year in which Benjamin Roderick offered to trade a .38 caliber firearm to Wilkins for 10 grams of heroin. And while Wilkins agreed to the exchange, investigators stopped Roderick's car on his way to the deal and were able to recover the firearm in Roderick's pants. In a separate related complaint, we've also charged Matthew Monroe, who was arrested and charged with selling an Uzi semi-automatic rifle to a cooperating witness inside a Hyannis hotel room.
ATF Special Agent in Charge Dan Coomer spoke to the activities of the so-called Naughty Block gang operating here on Cape.
Back in October of 2015, we began this investigation, and our focus was to identify, to target, and arrest members of the most violent and dangerous gang on Cape Cod, known to many as the Naughty Block or the Naughty Crew criminal street gang. The Naughty Crew gang is a major drug trafficking organization that has a long-standing history of committing violent criminal acts in many towns throughout the Cape. Whether it was murder, robbery, home invasions, shootings, stabbings, or intimidation, this gang was intent on terrifying or eliminating anyone who posed a threat to their criminal activities. But as a result of the tremendous work by law enforcement agencies at the federal, state, and local levels represented here today, we have dealt a serious blow to the Naughty Crew.
Like all involved, Kumar praised the collaborative efforts and pledged to continue combating the drug issues.
I would like to recognize and thank all those who participated in this joint investigative effort, to include the United States Attorney's Office, the Cape and Islands District Attorney's Office, the Barnstable Police Department, the Yarmouth Police Department, the Barnstable County Sheriff's Office, and the Bristol County Sheriff's Office, the Drug Enforcement Administration, the Mass State Police, and the U.S. Marshal Service, and the Dennis State Police, who assisting in today's operation. I can't tell you how proud I am of the agents, the detectives, the police officers, the analysts, and the prosecutors who worked on this case.
It is the hope of all involved that these arrests will help stem the tide of heroin distribution on Cape Cod. U.S. Marshal John Gibbons, working here in Massachusetts, says these arrests are significant.
Charges including murder, firearm offenses, drug trafficking can cause devastating damage to our communities. The efforts by the dedicated law enforcement agencies appearing before you today led to the arrest of these individuals and seizure of multiple firearms and narcotics, which will make an immediate and direct impact on helping to reduce the availability of heroin on Cape Cod. The United States Marshal Service remains committed to standing with our law enforcement partners each and every day to making our community.
25-year-old Denzel Chisholm, 26-year-old Chanel Chisholm, and 30-year-old Tyrone Gomes were arraigned on murder charges today in Barnstable District Court. Facing federal criminal complaints of conspiracy to distribute and possess with an intent to distribute heroin, 26-year-old Denzel Chisholm of Barnstable, 29-year-old Christopher Wilkins of Hyannis, 31-year-old Tyrone Gomes of Hyannis, 20-year-old Elise Mateo of Hyannis, 50-year-old Bethann Hutchings of Hyannis, 26-year-old Oliver Hamilton of Hyannis, 21-year-old Stephanie Davis of Harwich, and 31-year-old Anthony Hall of Sandwich. Facing charges of possession of heroin with intent to distribute, 22-year-old Brooke Cattell of Hyannis, 31-year-old Sean Miller of Hyannis, and 27-year-old Jason Mello of Barnstable. Facing charges of conspiracy to possess a firearm in furtherance of a drug trafficking offense, 26-year-old Benjamin Roderick of Hyannis and 29-year-old Christopher Wilkins. 25-year-old Matthew Monroe of Barnstable is facing possession of a firearm by a felon. All will appear in U.S. District Court in Boston. Again, it is the hope of all involved that this swath of arrests will go a long way to stop the widespread distribution of heroin on Cape Cod. The collaborative effort to combat the heroin epidemic in our region will continue. With this Barnstable Today special report, I'm Sarah Colvin.